When I was a younger lawyer, 25 to 35 years ago, that's kind of your age range, right? I was either too broke to go to all those meetings and all those nice places, or I was in a firm where you were virtually prohibited from doing anything in the bar because it was not billable. So I was never particularly involved, though my moot court partner from law school was president of YLD and tried to get me involved. I have 3 points this afternoon: time, calling, and execution. First, time. One of the smartest people I know is Ken Boa. How many of you know who Ken Boa is? One? Look him up. He said something that I wrote down and take with me everywhere, that most of our worst mistakes are mathematical, and that we miscalculate the brevity of life and the length of eternity. When I was young, I thought I had all the time in the world. Well, it doesn't work that way. When I was a young assistant DA, I shared a desk with a guy named Wayne. Wayne had great aspirations. I don't know where he would have wound up, but he was not lacking in ambition. When Wayne was 29, he hydroplaned into a tree on the way to court one morning. That was the end. My friend David Adams had great promise. Shortly after he moved his practice and family from Atlanta to Moultrie to practice with his brother-in-law, he had a cerebral hemorrhage and dropped dead like that at 35. We don't know how much time we have. My father-in-law died last year at 92, but at 92, it seemed like it had gone too fast. Where did the time go? And whether we lived 29 or 92, it's too short. Now, what do we make of that? Some of the greatest achievements in life, some of the greatest accomplishments in human history have been done by people who got on with it at a young age. When you're young, you can afford to take risk. You can afford to fall on your face and pick yourself up and dust yourself off and try again. The time value of money, the power of compounded interest, both literally and figuratively, and metaphorically, still works in your favor at your age. So take those chances. How old was Martin Luther King when he led the Montgomery bus boycott and started leading the civil rights movement? You can tell me how old he was. 25. Now, so be bold. Take chances. Follow your bliss. Don't be afraid. If you want to start a firm, start a new area of practice, start a new way of practicing law, innovating in this changing world and changing economy, make your plan, work your plan, and do it. If you want to go to India to combat human trafficking and child prostitution, or go to Guatemala or do that, do it. If you want to go back and get your MBA, your LLM, or your PhD, or learn Chinese, or do a triathlon, do it. The time doesn't get any better. If you want to launch a business, a new business idea, if you want to go into politics, if you want to start a revolution, whatever it is, get on with it. Don't wait. On a personal level, follow your passion. Don't be afraid. If you want to have kids, let me tell you, my first kid was born when I was 37. The second was born when I was 39. I'm 60 now. I've got 2 kids in college who are a long way from being off the payroll. So, just do the math. Second, calling. Too many lawyers see the law, see our profession merely as an instrument for economic and social and status enhancement. advancement. We should view our profession as a passionate vocation, a high calling to service. There are very few occupations that offer as many and as varied opportunities for helping people who are hurting as the law. Now, if you're a Main Street lawyer and people come in off the street, you got a lot of opportunities you don't have to look for to help people who are hurting. If you are in a high-rise building in Atlanta doing securities offerings, you might have to look a little harder to find those opportunities. But wherever you are, whatever your day job is, there are ways to turn that into an opportunity for service and to find it to be a calling. The examples are as varied as the areas of practice and as the profession. If we had an hour, I would go through each of your areas of practice and talk about it. But you have opportunities right where you are to bloom where you're planted and to turn that day job into a high calling for service. Now, the third is execution. It's not enough to recognize time for what it is. It's not enough to feel the calling. You have to execute to make it work, to put legs on those dreams. Shakespeare wrote of Julius Caesar, "There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads to fortune. Omitted, all the days of our lives are spent in shallows and miseries. Upon such a full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current as it serves or lose our venture." When I was 1 year out of law school, I thought I saw the wave, the tide of opportunity. And I felt the call. And I ran against an incumbent legislator in my home county who was akin to half the county. I was 27. I looked like I was 17. Hard to believe looking at me now, but I did. When I went out campaigning, folks would say, "Boy, you still in high school?" If 51 people had changed their votes, I would have been in. 51 people. If I had planned a little better, if I had worked a little harder, if I had executed more effectively, my life would have taken a different course. Whether that would have been good or bad, I don't know. But it would have been interesting to find out. So you got to execute, folks. You got to work, make your plan and work your plan. You got to think it through and do it. Or you wind up, laboring in shallows and miseries for a long time, which frankly I did for a long time. In the words of Larry the Cable Guy, you got to get her done. Now, let me share with you the next couple of minutes some of the things that we're trying to do to execute in the state bar this year during my year as president. And bear in mind that most things in the state bar take more than 1 year. We just got the evidence code passed. I've been working on it for 20 years. So I hope these things don't take 20 years. Hopefully we can execute a little more briskly than that. We had a first e-filing. We had a great meeting yesterday with the Superior Court Clerks Authority trying to plow a path toward having a uniform statewide e-filing system in our superior courts and state courts. It's not simple, it's not easy, it won't be completed in the next year, but we've begun to get a game plan for making that happen. I'm appointing a Next Generation Courts Commission chaired by Judge Lawton Stevens in Athens to take a broad look at what do we want the court system to look like in 20 years. And how do we practically, pragmatically, politically get from here to there? That's going to affect you all more than it does me, I hope. I hope I won't be practicing in 20 years. Juvenile Code started as a YLD project. It's been a labor of love for a lot of people for a long time. When I came into office, I said, let's tee it up. Let's put it on the Board of Governors' agenda, fix anything that needs to be fixed, and move it forward toward passage in the legislature. We put it out for a comment period, which expires on the 12th. It had the, that had the desired effect of bringing the objections out of the weeds. We've got some things we're gonna have to deal with to work out some compromises on things that have a physical impact on budgets of various agencies that have to be resolved. But we will have that as an action item for endorsement in October from the Board of Governors, hopefully with all of the problems resolved.